We've got Jade Tambini, aka B2B Jade, who wears multiple hats as a marketing coach and course leader at the B2B Breakthrough Academy. She's also a TikTok influencer and podcaster. I personally have found Jade's content to be hugely valuable, so when she agreed to be part tonight, I was absolutely over the moon.
I'm going to talk to you about writing a marketing strategy, but more around the angle of you can write a marketing strategy. Because when I was working in corporate scenarios, I always felt like the advice out there for me made me feel more stupid. And so I wanted to be a person who made people feel like, actually, I can do this. I'm not, the more I learn, feeling worse off. And I always found that imposter syndrome got the better of me. The more I learned, the worse I felt about writing a strategy. I'm the person to say, like, you can create a marketing strategy if that is something that you have found challenging, which I certainly did. Just to tell you a bit about me, my job is I'm the course leader at the B2B Breakthrough Academy. I used to be a marketing consultant and I shifted to help marketing managers instead. I wanted to help them make a case for more budget, more strategy in their companies. I'm technically an influencer, a very small one on TikTok. If you are interested in what I'm talking about, you might enjoy my podcast, which is called the B2B Marketing Gap. If you just search wherever, the B2B Marketing Gap, or visit any of my links, then you'll hopefully find that useful. I talk about a lot of my failings. It's quite cozy. I've worked for 18 years in B2B. I started in sales, so that's quite an interesting angle. I think I get the importance of leads, but at the same time, I know that how we get them is different than people think. The story of me and why I'm here is that I struggled a lot in my marketing career. I'm like your bestie. If you're having a tough time with imposter syndrome, with feeling like you're not good enough, like you've got too many plates spinning, you can't meet the needs of the business you're in, I've been you. We're the same, and I'm here to pass on what I've learned along that journey. My journey in 2006, I dropped out of college. I left my art folder on the bus and I didn't run after it. I just didn't care. I was just like, why am I doing this? And I worked in sales for a few years. And then come 2008, I was like, right, I want to work in marketing. Let's do this. And everyone around me was like, you can't work in marketing. You have no degree. You have no experience. You're just a sales girl. Get back on the phones. That was the narrative. If you have ever felt like you're not good enough to become a marketing director one day or run your own business or write a strategy, it's all nonsense, because I literally was rejected from, I think, 40 interviews, got through on 11, and then eventually, after a year and a half, did get a marketing assistant job. It just goes to show that if you want something, you can do it. I worked in a really big corporate called DS Smith PLC for ages, and it was brilliant. And then I worked in a company where it didn't quite line up, like what they wanted and what I was doing was not aligned. And so I had a massive imposter syndrome period, and we're just like, what am I doing in marketing? I shouldn't be doing this. This is not for me. And it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened, because I was able to then bottle that and pass it on to you guys. So 2023 was when my brand B2B Jade became a company. I just randomly set up a TikTok account called B2B Jade. I was like, I do B2B, my name's Jade. People found it interesting. I created a business off the back of it. People were saying, have you got templates? How do I write objectives? Why am I not getting leads? All these different questions. Why is my boss not giving me the budget? Why, when I have got budget, do I not know how to spend it? And why aren't we getting leads? And then I built the course off the back of that. Let's have a little chat about why are marketing managers or B2B companies, why are we not getting results from our marketing? What you often find is that the idea is do all this stuff, create this brochure, prepare for this event, send out this email, and then it's like, where are the sales leads? Why aren't you getting leads? So that's like this kind of like, I don't know where to be, I don't know how to do this. So like, let's talk about why we're not getting these results. The name of my podcast is the B2B Marketing Gap. That's kind of the first concept we can look at, which is this idea that there's a huge void between where the business plan is, so what the owners of the business want to achieve, and what the marketing people are working on, where a strategy should be. A really good example of this is I was working in DS Smith, and this is really easy to do, people in the room will get this, 2009, it was 2010, it was pretty easy to do SEO yourself in-house. You could just do a few things on site and optimize a few things, and you would just go to the top. I tripled the sales leads for the company. And I was like, I'm amazing, because I was from sales. And then the customer services and sales were like, what is this trash? What are you doing? You know we sell multiple six-figure contracts. Why would we want these piddly little requests for a bin to be collected. We were in recycling industry. They were dealing with like Tesco, and I was getting them a local corner shop asking for a bin to be collected. And so this lesson was learned from me was that, oh, I think that just getting loads of leads is marketing. I hadn't asked the business, what do you need to achieve? And so by me learning that that company was all about retention, these are such huge, significant contracts. I think one of them was like 20% of the revenue. If you lose it, it's devastating. With that example, we brought in one of the best strategies for that situation, which was net promoter scoring. We not only asked the decision makers, which there were 20 of them at this big retailer, on a scale of 1 to 10, how pleased are you with us and what makes you feel that way? We also asked thousands of people at store level where we were doing the waste collections. The idea was, if you only ask the decision makers and they're saying, oh yeah, 8 out of 10, you're brilliant, but the stores are not happy, that's going to filter. By the time your decision makers are 4 out of 10, you have got absolutely zero chance, because everyone deeper down in the delivery side is furious with you. Just an example of where that might sound like a fluffy strategy, like, oh, let's ask our customers how satisfied they are with us. But that was the most important retention driving initiative that we did. The B2B marketing gap is the biggest reason for me as to why marketing managers are not getting results, is like there's no strategy, there's no connection between what the business needs to achieve and what the marketer's actually working on. And that leads us nicely into the marketing task wheel, which every marketing manager will feel, which is, I need a campaign to go out in 3 days. I need a piece of literature. We're not going to sell if we don't have that brochure. Can you update the brochure? Can you create a new landing page? We've just booked a booth. Can you get all the giveaways? And so what happens is, it's all good stuff, but because it's not linked to a strategy, we end up just doing stuff, which fills up the 40 hours a week and often more. And then you actually haven't got time to be focusing on getting leads. But then you're asked, where are the leads? And you're like, I'm working really hard, but nothing's working. That was just my experience, so I don't know if you can relate. Lack of budget and buy-in. I've picked this guy because he just looks like a kind of cynical finance director. You want what? You want a podcast. What? Like, that is literally the face, and it actually makes me feel funny because I remember that look, and you start to think, is it me? The reason we're not getting budget and buy-in is because we're not strategic. I'm talking about past me, I'm not assuming anything of you. We're not strategic enough to get that budget and really sell to the business. This is what is realistic in terms of return. No, that bit won't get return. That's the brand building part. This is how we get return. Another great example of this is I was consulting a client. A couple of years ago, I was consulting a client and they were spending a fair amount on their marketing for the size of their business, Google ads, this, advertising here, here, here. And I went in and I was like, why are you doing all that? You have a stack of people that you've quoted for in the past. You've got a database of like 2,000 decision makers, and you're just constantly looking for new leads, but you haven't done anything to really reactivate these people. So we smashed their target within 6 months because we just created a campaign to really re-engage and change the perception among these people. It's just getting the quick wins like that to prove that you really know what you're doing, and then creating a strategy that includes a budget. I'm not here to bash leaders. I probably wouldn't have given me more budget either. It's easy for us to go, oh, these leaders, they're awful, they won't give us the budget. But actually, it's very scary running a company. You've got to make the right choices, and if money just gets blown on marketing with no return, that's really damaging to profit. And actually, the definition of marketing is satisfying customer needs profitably. It's actually not get leads, it's how do we satisfy our customer needs profitably. Your bosses, your owners will be caring about how do we be as profitable as possible. And then if there's a marketer saying, can I have 200 grand for marketing? Well, you know, marketing's ROI is always a bit tricky. Naturally, they're like, whoa. Becoming strategic gets us that budget and buy-in. And then imposter syndrome, it paralyzed me. I was just like, I would go marketing plan and I'd be like, target audience, this geography in this industry, next. Like, you just feel so freaked out. If you're going through any of that, it's really normal. I speak to hundreds of marketing managers, and even they will admit, like, oh, I put on a good front, like I talk the talk, but I'm behind the scenes, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm really scared. And I think that's because we've never had people above us to show us, because they've been stuck too. Why have we ended up here? And then I'm going to show you the 6 steps in a marketing strategy so that you can think, oh, I've actually done most of that, or, oh, that's a little gap. I think the reason we've ended up in this place is that marketing used to be the sales support function, right? When I started in sales in 2006, I made 100 cold calls a day, 3 demos a day, 1 sale a day. Otherwise, I was in a lot of trouble. And if I did hit, I was like being given vodka shots at midday, taken on holiday. Like it was wild. But it really worked because in 2006, people had to speak to me if they wanted to buy marketing data. It was a credit safe type company. We sold data. They couldn't find out information on their own. They literally would be like, well, I don't really want to speak to you right now, but call me next week because we do need marketing data at some point. They couldn't research it online. The internet wasn't really like that back then. They had no choice. So marketing, I remember them, they were our support function. They would write me marketing templates. After a call, I'd ping off an email and it'd have like links to brochures and stuff like that. And they would host booths at the big trade shows where buyers would come to be like, I have to buy today because I'm meeting 8 of you today. And there's nothing, like, I don't want to be traveling around the country. There was no real online interaction with buying. And now today, marketing is the growth driver of business. People spend such a significant amount of their decision-making time independently now, and they will only really commit to a meeting with us if they're almost certain they're going to work with us. And if you just think about how you buy, would you have a 1-hour meeting in your calendar with someone that you're not that sure on? I feel like you'd ask around, you'd read about them, you'd figure it all out online, and then you're like, okay, I could definitely work with these people, so I'm going to agree to a meeting. Marketing is responsible for that whole piece where sales are not involved, but we're not doing that because we're still operating and seen as the sales support department. We're budgeted that way, we're treated that way. So the thing of just get these materials. Something's got to change, and that really starts with people like Lauren who've risen up and gone, right, hang on, this is not how marketing needs to work. We got to change this. It's got to be more strategic. But let me develop my knowledge to be able to sell that to you. Because I think for me as a marketer, my sales experience was more valuable than anything because it is internal selling to get people to see. How do we overcome it? Learn strategy, get assertive, and focus on your path. That was a bit of a non-section on the slide, wasn't it? It's just like, I think it was a template and I was like, oh yeah, fill in the ticks. Like. Okay, how do we make a marketing strategy? There's 6 steps, the way I've broken it down, and I never use jargon. So if you're interested, there's a lot more on the podcast. I will never use a word of jargon. There's no fancy models or anything like that. So step 1, you need to conduct a marketing review, which we all know that. We call it the audit. I hate the word audit, so I just call it the review. There's nothing new or groundbreaking in here. It's just I feel like simplifying what it is and what goes in there. If anyone wants to get started, there's a QR code at the end. Literally the first template in my course is the marketing review template. You can have that, like it's just on my website. You can have the template, but just to tell you what's in there, it can feel a bit overwhelming at first. It's the most full-on part of the course, but it's really extracting everything from the business that you need to make sure that you build your strategy around the business. We're looking at who the ideal client is and really simple ways to map that out, getting insights from your best customers on why you're the better choice to help inform your messaging, getting all the numbers, the sales stats, like understanding like what have we got issues with, like have we got issues with conversions, have we got, like we're reviewing everything that's going on. We're almost like briefing ourselves. There's a lot in there, which I won't go into all of it right now, but if you want to download that, you can have a look. It does feel a bit daunting, but once you've got all that in there, it really sets up like, okay, what are the key things the business needs to focus on? What are the numbers? What are the targets? How does that break down into sales? What's retention looking like? It's down to earth, but there's a lot in there to help you really get grounded in, okay, what are we actually doing? Step 2, in the process I follow, we look at the marketing objectives and the budget. Marketing objectives are where people trip over, and I've certainly done this. You may find them easy. I really didn't. I would write tactics like create a new website or achieve 10,000 visits to the website within 6 months because SMART. I don't like SMART goals. I feel like they push us down the tactics route. I use where we're looking at, okay, the marketing objective will get to the root of the issue. Say, for example, you have an issue in your company where you're losing a lot of customers to a more cheap rival. They're using some undercutting tactics and they're all leaving you, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're not going to get the service. Why are they leaving us? It might sound obvious to make the marketing objective achieve a 10% increase in customer retention. And then your tactics might be ensure we have meetings with our top 50 customers in the next 3 months so that we can make sure that we understand what they need and retain them. But my marketing objective would be something like better understand what our customers want and set the business up to deliver that. So that you're getting under it, like what's at the root of this issue? This is not about quickly getting, because you might find then that sales use tactics like, oh, we'll give you a discount, just stay with us, just stay with us. But no, we need to build the company around what they want. And then when you go into things like KPIs, then it's like, okay, number of meetings booked with sales or key accounts, etc. It's really about getting objectives that get to the heart of the issue. And then your budget, there's a lot of information on budget in the course, but it's somewhere between 4 to 8% of sales revenue you want to be looking at for a budget as long as you're profitable. So that's a whole process too, looking at the size of the challenge versus what we should spend. Next, we need to select our marketing strategies. I'm a fan of less is more. What is the most efficient and effective way to get from where we are now to achieving those objectives? With that client I said earlier, we only did 2 things and they hit their objectives. I think sometimes we have this like marketing shopping list of like, let's do this and do this and do this. B2B Breakthrough Academy. A lot of the BBAs, they're like, oh, this is more achievable now. I used to think that writing a marketing strategy would be, oh, look how much work we're going to have to do because we've written this strategy and we've got to deliver it all. But a lot of the time, having a marketing strategy makes it more realistic. You strip things back, you let things go. Why are we doing that? It's not delivering anything. So we do less. You select your strategies. What are the big things we need to do? What is strategy versus tactics? Again, I really struggled with this. Strategies are, what are the big things we need to do? Like we need to overhaul our internet presence to make sure we're better serving online buyers' needs. You know, you can't, that's not a tactic. It's not something you actually do, is it? That's a strategic approach. And then from that, you've got tactics. Okay, we're going to do a website user experience audit, or we're going to re-wireframe our whole site. We're going to, you know, you go into what you're actually going to do to deliver on that strategy. And then you move into tactical activity planning, which is from that, let's make an operational marketing activity plan month by month. Who's doing what? Oh, that's way too much. Take that one out then because that's not deliverable. Budget plans. A lot of marketing managers, including myself, we would sort of start there. You're given hundreds of tasks and then you put them into an Excel spreadsheet. But that isn't a marketing plan. It's a marketing activity program, I guess. But I feel like that's where we start. By doing the previous steps, we can really get more strategic. And also you can start to be more assertive with the business, like an internal consultant, to be more like, rather than like, where's the leads? I can't get them, I haven't got the budget. Because you've done a strategic process, it's more like, if we would like X, we will need to invest Y, and we will need to do this. Oh yeah, with that lower budget, I think our best resources will be put over here to really focus on that. So everyone's on the same page and sales know what to expect and you're kind of comfortable. So you've been assertive to the point where you're not like, I'll be honest, I've pushed it sometimes. I've been a bit too like, we gotta be strategic, like, you know, at all costs. I've made mistakes in my career where I've kind of done what I wanted to do in a business, where they're like, but we just want you to do some campaigns. And I'm like, no, we need to be strategic. And it's like, it's still your boss, it's their company. If I was employed now, the way I would do it is I'm your internal consultant, I'll tell you what I reckon, but ultimately it's your business. So like, yeah, cool, like we're gonna do that then. I wouldn't be defensive, just be like, here's what I think may fall down with that, but look, it's your business, I really respect you. So it's like a balance, I think. Step 5 is set up your reporting. I typically hire people to help me do this. So Samir Rahman is great. He's someone I work with. Realising that marketing managers are generalists is really helpful. We're generalist marketers. We don't know everything. We can't set up the CRM on our own. We can't write all the copy on our own. We can't do it. Like, to a point you can write copy, but we need people. And again, that's where the budget comes in. So setting up your reporting, that all links back to having a decent functioning CRM and things like that, and maybe hiring a consultant coach to help you set those things up. And also managing your budget, looking at how is that budget performing, and at the right time looking at return, having those conversations. And then lastly, so I think, Lauren, you've already done this now, haven't you? Literally presenting your marketing strategy to leadership, having that presentation to go, here is the plan, here's what we're looking to do, getting sales on board. Like, Lauren, you're from sales as well, so we naturally get on well with salespeople, but I know that marketers, it's really tough for us because there is always a tension between sales and marketing. And I can remember being a salesperson and my commission was my livelihood. I would feel like, marketing, come on, like help me, you know, you don't understand, like stop being so chilled. But then marketing, I've been marketing and I know that it's not as simple as sometimes sales would make it out. There's this real tension, getting sales on side, you know, little things like I'd be attacked in meetings, and so a sales guy said to me, well, I don't see how a website's going to get leads. I don't see how a website's going to get customers. This was like 2012. And rather than me being like, oh, well, you don't understand, I was like, oh, could you tell me more about that? And he's like, oh, well, you know, what I mean is, and I'm like, oh, yeah, that's so interesting. Should we have a little chat and I can show you the web report analytics? I can understand why it's not immediately visible how that would work. You're not being passive aggressive. I'm literally just being like kind and understanding that they would feel frustration that I'm not demonstrating return and they don't see that. Taking those conversations offline to have separate meetings to be more assertive and call someone out if they are kind of like talking down at you is kind of helpful. So, this is what I said about PowerPoint, isn't it? It's gone a bit funky. It was Canva. Luckily, none of the footage is going to show it, and hopefully you can forgive me. This is what's so fun about not having a boss. Like, you can't be in trouble. It's wrong. I don't care. Something I never did was just follow what my organisation had done in the past. I would look for the best case studies in the world of marketing. What are the best companies in our sector doing in the world? And then really study that. Carve out the time needed is really making sure that you find a way to get off that marketing task wheel. You will be on it for another 20 years, I promise, if you don't find a way to get off it. Having the conversations with your leaders to say, I need a few hours a week, more if you can, to carve out a marketing strategy. We need to get strategic now. I'm never going to, like what you want from me, I'm never going to be able to give you unless I have this time. There is always a way. Lauren's done it, the 39 others, most of them have done it. In fact, a few of them have left their jobs, haven't they? Because they were like, I can't do it. Started new ones. But most of them have figured out a way. Practice being curious, interested in why people have got preconceptions about marketing rather than internalizing it as you failing. So like a really interesting concept, if anyone's interested, something called unconditional self-acceptance. I practice a lot of this, is that even if I'm really bad at marketing, I still have value. If people feel I'm rubbish at marketing, it doesn't affect me because I know that even if that were true, I'm still valuable as a person. Kind of takes that internalizing of it away. So being curious, like you're not taking it personal. This is not an attack on you. This is just someone who doesn't know. You get further along. And learning the business language. So I don't know if anyone else has done this, but I used to talk in all the fancy words. Oh, well, the thing with the reach and the impressions and the this and the that and the pipeline velocity, I think I said once. Sorry if any of the demand gen people are here on TikTok. But yeah, like words like that, we use it and it's natural because we're seen as dumb, but we want to show that we're not. But I think that using normal language actually comes across better. And then don't get demotivated by other people in your business. If they're telling you it's rubbish, this is about your journey. By you focusing on getting strategic, it does benefit where you work because they'll get the best from you. Don't jump over the important part. That's just something I say on the course. If you were to take the course, for example, it's very tempting, and I think this is why you guys liked that it was staggered, to just go, oh, I just want to get to the activity planning bit, but you will literally, there's no point. You have to just take it step by step and get that review bit done. It's the worst bit, but it just pays off so much. Don't get defensive or use jargon or attack back, realising that people don't quite understand how marketing is today. I'm not sure what, this is Lauren's bit. Yay. Okay, so I'm going to pass over to Lauren for a couple of minutes. And you can clip that to you.
Yeah.
Cool.
There we go. Am I on live? Yeah, there I am.
Oh, so just to introduce really quick, like Lauren was a student on B2B Breakthrough Academy.
Yeah.
And so we've done some work together for a while. And I'll leave it.
Fab. So hi, I'm Lauren. I'm a marketing manager. I've only been a marketing manager for just under 7 months, but I've been working in marketing for around 4 years. I came across Jade on TikTok and it was like music to my ears because working in B2B, I don't know if anybody is the same, but on my social media, I'll be following like loads of B2C people and they're like, oh, you know, use this hack and use this. And with social media, this is how you can make £10,000 in 1 second. And I'd be like, why isn't this working for the job I work in? Oh my God, I'm such a failure. And then I found Jade and I was like, yeah, this makes sense. Actually, I am in this position and I am finding it really difficult to get through to my senior leaders, say, this is what we need to do, this is how it works. So yeah, doing the course has literally been such a breath of fresh air, because it's been refreshing to do a course that isn't really theory-based as well, because I think some courses can be so theory-heavy. When it comes to the practical side of it, you think, well, how do I implement it? How do I put it actually down now on a piece of paper? So I've just put some tips together, really, of just kind of things that I would, my advice to you if you do the course, just to kind of like bear in mind. So like, first one is confidence. Like Jade mentioned it, imposter syndrome is horrid. I've had it for years. Like I said, you'd come across these experts, social media managers, and I would literally be like, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what that means. Or, I don't know how to do a strategy. You do know how to do it. So just put that confidence in yourself, because, once you find that confidence, and especially when you're in those meetings now with your leaders and you think, well, actually, no, I do know the topic and I know it more than you because marketing is my job. That found confidence I've had has literally been next level. Your review is everything. When you do the review bit on BBA, you are like, this is intense, this is heavy. Actually, I'm going to skip a little bit of it. Do I really need to do it? It's your foundation. If you think of building a house, you can't build a house without foundations. You can, but it's going to fall down. With your review is everything. Literally, just go back to the basics. Has that worked? Has, the type of email campaigns that you do, are they working? Have they worked? You're stuck on that task wheel, they'll be like, I'll send an email out about that, do this, do that. Yeah, we know our customers, we know what our customers want. Do you actually know? Doing the review was next level to me, because I was thinking, I actually have never really gone in depth like that before. Be realistic. I think when I first spoke with Jade, I was like, oh, right, I need to do 12 different strategies, I need to do 100 tactics, I need to do that, I need to do this. No, just be realistic. Think of your budget. I would love to be able to say, yeah, my budget is £500,000, this is what I can do. Just be realistic with yourself. Don't set yourself up for failure. Don't isolate yourself. I think, especially working in marketing, it's really easy to kind of like close yourself off and like work by yourself, because you think, oh, nobody understands, nobody gets it, nobody's listening to me. Get them on board, get your senior leaders on board, because once they understand and appreciate what you're trying to achieve, because at the end of the day, what you're doing is for the benefit of the business, it's not for the benefit of yourself. You are literally doing everything you can to make that business successful and to grow. If you're isolating yourself from them and then you're like, here it is, this is what we're going to do. And they're a bit like, well, actually, I didn't know anything about that. And that's really overwhelmed me. I don't know what any of that means. Get them on board, and especially like your team as well. In terms of our marketing team, it's really small. There's only 3 of us. I involved them with everything that we did. It felt like a group strategy that we put together. Don't just single yourself out. And keep it simple. At the end of the day, this is your instructions, this is your roadmap to success. We can get really technical. Like I said, I've done courses in the past and I've done my marketing diploma, and it's very theory heavy, it's very into the types of matrix you can use and all this really complicated marketing jargon. And yeah, you could put that into a strategy and it could look really professional and really intense to the leader, but is that actually going to benefit you? Is that actually going to work in your favour? That's one thing I loved about BBA, is the fact that it's simple, it's simplified, and it's an easy thing for you to follow. In terms of the strategy that I've built now, I've presented it to our leadership team. They're on board because I involved them throughout the whole process. And now I've got that confidence where you could put me in maybe another business and I could learn about that business and I could say, yes, I know how to do this now, because I've learned everything that I need in order to build a strategy. So those are my tips.
Great. I should have said Lauren's marketing manager at Thomas Carroll Group, so she has a really big challenge. And I promise I didn't tell her to say how great the course was. But thank you for saying that. It's really nice of you. Lauren's a great example of someone who's gone from feeling overwhelmed and flooded with tasks and not necessarily having the budget and the structure needed. And however you do it, getting that strategy in place can really push you forward to getting the respect you deserve. And I think Lauren's such a great case study of a marketing manager now having the budget they need, having the team on board, and it's so nice to see. Yeah. If anyone was interested in having that freebie review template, you can get it there. If you want to do your own thing, I do also have some resources that are like, look, you don't, like, I'm not selling to you, you don't need to buy my course. It's there if you ever needed it. It's not what I'm about. I actually built my course so that I could spend most of my time giving free content, because I don't believe everyone needs to. If the review is useful for you, then you can get it there or through any of the links in my profiles. It's called the Marketing Review Freebie. And there is also a 6-step freebie as well, which is going into a lot more detail than that presentation did on what's involved in over the 6 steps, so that you can just go off and do it on your own. Are there any questions that I can help anybody with? Hey,
I wonder
Aled.
if there's like a lack of ambition in B2B marketing that maybe we have more of in B2C. Like, by that I mean, you know, I think of even the biggest brands like Aldi, or like Ryanair.
Yeah.
Right? They're unafraid in their marketing. They're willing to be a bit ambitious, put their necks out on the line.
Yeah,
And I watch like KPMG stuff, right? You think of the marketing budgets they have.
I know.
And they practice cheesy drivel. Actually, some are so cheesy it's good. But do you think that B2B businesses could be a bit more ambitious, put the neck on the line a bit more, or do we need to be creative within a safe space?
Why I love B2B is, weirdly, I'm only in B2B because I didn't live in an area where there were B2C opportunities. I feel like a lot of us are like that, especially in Wales. That's the marketing jobs. I'm more excited by B2B, weirdly, because I feel like putting out a cool ad and then loads of people buy your chocolate bar, it's almost a bit like, oh, it just looked nice and they bought it now. I know there's more to it than that, but I feel like in B2B, it's more exciting from a psychology point of view, because for me, the creativity is not in the art direction. It's in, there's a group of 10 people responsible for making this decision to make their business better. How can we creatively be savvier than the other guys at making them see that we're the better option, and how can we directly get our business set up to deliver that? I feel like that's the creativity. I go into companies, I'm like, what do your customers want? What do they find frustrating about your industry typically? What is it they don't favour in your industry? They hate that people who never respond. They hate people who constantly raise the prices, not communicating it, whatever it is. And I find that it's so exciting to creatively problem solve. How can we make our business more aligned with that? I think there's a risk sometimes with the B2B creative side that sometimes we want creativity for creativity's sake to sort of stretch our creative legs, because I'll be honest, I felt very down in B2B in the past, because I did once launch a parrot, a 3D parrot to promote a waste management company, and that was exciting. It was like this, it like repeated the message. The campaign was perpetual devotion to do with the continuous nature of repeating the cycle of waste, recycling, whatever. Bit mental. And actually the boardroom that we presented to, the HR director stood up and said, I think you're out of your tiny minds. I was like, oh wow. So yeah, like you're out of your tiny minds. It was amazing. I think there's a risk of creative for creative's sake, but I also think that B2C marketers who come over to B2B are like, whoa, this is really hard. It is hard to influence lots of different people, but I think what's exciting is developing brand narratives, being able to clearly articulate in the messaging, here is where to place us in your mind, and here is why we would be the better choice in line with your frustrations. Like, to be able to do that is just so good, so fun. But yeah, I think that is an issue. Maybe people are demotivated, maybe they just want to be sales support, who knows? I'm fairly ambitious as a marketer, I want to do well, but I know that some people are more like, not that exciting, it's just selling trucks, you know? I think it's great to sell trucks. Great question, though. Thanks. Any other questions? Yes, Liam.
In terms of your career, whether it's things you did in post or things that you've encouraged through the training stuff you're doing,
Yeah.
can you give an example of something, just, it doesn't have to be the most proud, but like something we go, the impact, this is the sort of impact this approach has. And then the second part is sort of, this isn't aimed at marketing specifically, it's sort of inherent in some of the things you said, but could you elaborate on that, about how you, what are the things you did to make sure that you understood, like,
what is this business here for?
Yeah, it's, you can do the deliverables and the tactics, but you sort of have to have a key understanding of what they're about. Right?
Like why this business exists, so like finding out, because a lot of people you ask, they don't know, do they? Yeah. They're like, oh, well, you tell us. Okay, wow. Question 1. I need an energy drink. Okay, question 1, the most proud I've been. So in corporate, it was with DS Smith. when, as I left, I entered them for an award, the team, for a campaign we'd done, where we had created a programme over a certain amount of time, and there's included in that was an industry report that was actually really interesting, produced by Raconteur, which is a publishing house. And we'd gotten big retailers to add commentary and case studies, and the big trade bodies had like put in data and research, and we'd done, it was just this really cool report. But based on the fact that this was 2014, I left corporate in 2016, it was pretty cool at that time to create something high value. We did it as data, it was gated and it was data. So we got quite a good volume of data into the CRM system, and then we were able to look at what pipeline that was generating. It was a proud moment for marketing to show that we had, through a marketing initiative, we had generated this level of pipeline. That was a proud moment there, but I think the most proud I've been with running my own business was with the launch of B2B Breakthrough Academy, the first round. The target was, I thought, look, I'm going to do a beta live round, just want to get a few people on. The sales got to 35,000 for the 6-week programme. It was a really cool start to the programme, and I just felt like, oh, I've made something. I always felt as a marketing consultant, it was like, I just talk to people. I never believed I could, like you can write a marketing strategy. I didn't believe I could ever make a product, but I have made a product. I'm still quite dumbfounded that I did it. In a platform, there's templates, there's video trainings, there's lessons, there's tech automations, all like, I just can't believe I was able to make it. So honestly, I'm crap at stuff like that. That's the proud ones. So the second one, okay. So if I say to a leader, what is it you want to achieve with this business? And they say, I want growth. It's like, no, everyone wants that, like you assume. It starts with mission and vision and making those right. So the way I see mission and vision is like they're really wrongly used a lot of the time and like made fluffy as well. A vision is just, how do we want the world to look like when we're finished with it? So like my vision for my company is a world where marketing managers drive growth in their businesses and are respected as such. That's how I want to see the world. I'd love it if I could go like that and everyone, they just were. That's my vision. Anything I do needs to be working towards that. The offering of the course is working towards that reality in the future. Some business owners' vision is that they want to sell in 5 years. Their vision might be to become a 5 million revenue business that's professionalized in its systems and blah, 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 so they can sell, like that might be more. So like figuring out exactly what that vision is, and then also the mission, which is like, why are we here? Like day to day, what are we doing? The company I consulted with, theirs was like to innovatively deliver on our clients' expectations and meet them on demand, on time, within, and it was like, you're just saying what a good service is. Like anyone could copy and paste that to their business. It's a bit like Greg saying our mission is to deliver pasties to hungry people. That's not a mission, that's just what you do. And so we worked with a coach and they made it better. And it was something, we make the property and construction process simpler. And that's our mission. It's because they're consultants within that sector. If someone on their team messes up a report, they can literally say, does that make the property and construction process simpler for our clients? No, that's not on our mission then. Don't do it. Like, don't make that mistake. Our mission is like, why are we here? Why do we exist? My mission is to help marketing managers get more strategic and become more assertive or something to that effect. So it's like every day, why are we here? So then you can build your marketing strategy around how do we achieve that vision one day or chip away at it. I think Cadbury's was something like, to ensure that everyone in the world experiences the joy of chocolate every day, or just something like that. It's like, well, yeah, obviously then you're going to try and sell loads of chocolate, but it's about joy, so then it's got to taste good, it's got to feel good, it's the whole experience. Does that answer the question? But then, yeah, so your review should include your vision and mission, which is in the template, and you write what they are, and then you critique them to go, is this fit for purpose? Your review might say, no, we need a new clarified vision and mission, because I can't build a strategy around to become an innovative leading supplier of plastic lining tubes or whatever B2B people sell. Like, so I think it's probably that. Wow, Liam, fair play. Are there any other questions? Oh, Liam. Someone help me.
Come on.
I'll follow up from Liam's question.
You don't have to, by the way.
So, in a world where marketers are asked to do stuff to justify their existence.
Yeah.
So I've done a campaign, therefore I'm worth my wage. How do you see a marketer fitting into defining brand strategy or the kind of business strategy? How integrated should they be as a marketer into that?
It's such a good question. I think there's probably a separation between what a marketing manager would do and what a marketing director should do. What I'm doing is helping marketing managers rise up, because in reality, if you're in a marketing manager job, it actually isn't your job to create a strategy. That's how you get in a marketing director position, you do it. But I'm hoping that by marketing managers learning the stuff, they can then get promoted. In an ideal world, you've got the board with a marketing director on it, and they're involved in the early business conversations, because I truly believe that a business is about having something that a customer wants, and the exchange of money for something. How you could set a business strategy without the marketing conversation, who is it we sell to, all that stuff. And so marketing's role should be super high up, but I think it's marketing's role when they're not super high up just to ask these questions. So people like Lauren and others were like, it was so amazing to ask the questions upwards, to make them think, to then come up with those answers. I definitely think marketing are responsible for brand strategy, yes. I think that needs to be part of the marketing strategy. What's the positioning? What is our brand strategy underneath the marketing strategy? But yeah, it's a weird one in B2B, isn't it? Because we don't usually have marketing on the board. And I think the best businesses, their owner is just a natural marketer.
Thank you, Jade. Yeah, that was class.
Oh,
yeah, super
thanks for having me.
informative, knowledgeable, and like I said, huge fan of Jade's content. And yeah, absolutely fascinating and absolutely smashed it. And thank you all for coming.